It just yes, it just pops up and say you live. It don't even give you like a
no warning at all. Hey, that's
no
fine.
warning. Some programs give you a countdown or something, but we live, man. We here for Uncommon Commentators edition of Bears Weekly, where me and Dave are gonna break down the Bears games every week. We're gonna also talk about different news of each week from other NFL teams. But basically, this will be about the Bears. For everyone that knows, or for everyone that's going to be paying attention and watching us, it will be Bears only for the first part, and then we go from there. What up, D boy? What's happening, man? Oh yeah, I need to hear this recap. We're gonna get there. First of all, no, Berrigan, you under the weather, man, but I appreciate you still being here, man.
Absolutely, yeah. COVID's not keeping us away.
Hey, I call it my fault, man. It's old habits. I called you Berrigan and not David, man. My fault.
That's okay. It's confusing with the handle on Twitter.
No, all good.
It's all good, man. Yeah, we got the coronavirus, but it's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. The Bears won. We're good.
The Bears won. Bears won week 1, 24-17. Happy Victory Monday. Little Peyton was happy. He was happy. He was happy. He was happy. But the first half, it was just 17-3 was the first half, but it was just, I think I texted you, it was like, whoo.
Yeah,
that was it was definitely tale of two halves. I will say this, defense and special teams matter. A lot of people try to act like it don't. And I get it, especially in this era of football with offense and everything like that. And now before I let David get into his, I'm going to let him go off. I will say this. I know a lot of people going crazy on Caleb. And I get it because I think it's more so because of what we're used to as Bears fans when it comes to offense. I think it's like we ready to for Caleb to just, and I ain't gonna lie to you, like in one of my, I know the free league, and the free league that I auto picked and actually picked Caleb. I had Caleb and Kyler Murray, so I just put Caleb in just for the off chance that he has one of them Cam first games type situations.
Yeah.
Just who knows? And I knew like this defense was kind of good for them Titans, but I say all to say is that be patient because look at two quarterbacks like Purdy and CJ Stroud. Purdy wouldn't be like he was if he didn't have a defense or a whole team around him like he is. Like, not saying Purdy's not a good quarterback, not saying CJ's not a good quarterback, but there's no way CJ goes 27 touchdowns and 5 interceptions or whatever crazy stat line it was if he doesn't have a complete team and a good coach around him. So it's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to be some games where Caleb goes nuts. And we might have another one like this where we need the defense and special teams to step up. Hopefully it don't be this bad where the offense don't score no touchdowns. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But just relax, man. It's week 1. Like, it's going to be a roller coaster. Even if we get 9 or 10 wins, it's going to be a roller coaster regardless. But go ahead, Dave. Tell me how you feel, man. How you feel? I know you want to go ahead, get off real quick.
Absolutely. The way I look at it, I mean, there's a lot to feel confident about, even from a game where Caleb had less than 100 yards. I think I texted you after the game, or at least at the end of the fourth quarter. How do you think the media is going to spin this with, you've got this 101 prospect, this prospect that's been comped to Andrew Luck, looks a little more, and he's got less than 100 yards.
Yep.
That looks ridiculous if you haven't watched the game. But I will say this. Some very positive signs. A lot of teams sucked week 1. There was a lot of teams that struggled offensively week 1.
Yes.
Caleb didn't have a single turnover, although I rewatched the condensed game today. He probably should have had 2 picks if we're going to be honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
That one
absolutely.
where he tried to get it into DJ Moore, and it was bouncing off the safety's helmet, and then that was just a chaotic play. Probably should have had a pick there. But ultimately, he didn't fumble the ball, which I was nervous about when, he's trying to break these sacks and kind of do a little bit much. But that was also as advertised. They said part of Caleb's weakness is hanging on too long, trying to play hero ball.
Yep.
That's up to the coaching staff and Ryan Poles and, Eberflus to just kind of get together and be like, how do we rein him in a little bit? Because this isn't the Pac-12. This is the NFL. A bad
Mhm.
NFL defense is typically still better than a good college defense. So
Absolutely.
that's what a
Absolutely.
lot of people don't understand, you know. And then ultimately his offensive line, I think it's going to take some weeks to settle in. I don't expect us to go into week 2 thinking that everything's going to be all right. I'm
Mhm.
predicting more of like a between week 4 and 7, we kind of find them, you know, click and just
Yeah.
get into their, you know, rhythm. But ultimately, he's establishing himself in the NFL, right? CJ
Yeah.
Stroud's first game wasn't good. I'll let you. What were your thoughts on Caleb's performance? I'm gonna go pull up CJ Stroud's first game stat line real quick.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you before we go there, I'm glad you brought up Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck, first three games in the NFL. It's funny that his first game was against us, but he threw 23 or 45 for 309 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Second week against the Vikings, 20 for 31, 224, 2 tutties, no picks. Jacksonville, 22 for 46, 313, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Hold on real quick, D-Boy, this C position worries me. I don't really care about that too much because 9 times out of 10, they just give the quarterback the C anyway. And I get what you're saying because he's a rookie, but I think that just tells me that the team trusts him. I feel like the team, they got his back, and it seems like they do have his back. But I do see what you're going from with that.
I think he's talking about the center. I think he's talking about Coleman Shelton.
Yes, we'll get there. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay,
Yeah, we're talking about that for sure.
Oh, yes, so we're gonna definitely get there for sure. But Caleb, it was 2 things. Like, yes, he could have had picks, and then there was some where, I think where he missed Allen down the side on the left. I don't think he's gonna do that all season. Allen is not gonna drop passes. Allen is gonna be. He's so smart and been in the league long enough. He's gonna find those pockets where I feel like Caleb's gonna find him there. I feel like Caleb is not gonna miss. I think he missed. Who was it, Carter or Tyler Scott? One of them two. He missed them too as well. He overshot him. I think this all just ain't. I know he can say he's not gonna be nervous, but it's easy to say when you don't get into a real regular season game and not a preseason game. It's really easy to say you're not gonna be nervous. And a lot of people are gonna laugh because it's the Titans, but they have a good D line. Like Jeffrey Simmons and them boys, they gonna bring it. And he hasn't seen everything. Like in the regular season, gonna be real, and preseason is real vanilla. But I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be fine. They're gonna figure some things out. I'm not gonna be. I wasn't gonna be too high or too low off that performance yesterday. What else? I do want to see him. I think they need to work on his launch angle because I didn't see this shit in college. And there's tall guys in college, but he wasn't getting his hands batted down. I mean, he wasn't getting balls batted down like that. So I don't know if this was something the Titans worked on. That's one thing I really want to watch the next few weeks because I don't know if this is something like the Titans like, listen, put your hands up. He's from the college. I don't know if this is his first game. I don't know if that's something, if it's a Caleb issue or was the Titans worked on, because I did notice last year Justin was getting balls batted down too, but I believe Justin's a little bit shorter than Caleb. I didn't know people were tripping about Caleb being 6'1". I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, he's not your traditional like 6. That's the thing, right? We're talking about an inch or two, truly.
Yeah, like I didn't know.
Yeah, he's not your 6'3", 6'4"
Yeah.
quarterback. Okay, cry me a fucking river. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah, I think ultimately, I was watching the game earlier with a friend, and we were talking about it, and he's like, "Man, who do you kind of credit all of those batted down balls to?" Because they happened 4 times by my count.
I feel like I think it might have been 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
for real,
and
seriously.
so we're like, is it the defensive line? Do you credit them? Do you put the blame on the offensive line for them allowing the D line to get close like that? Or do you credit the quarterback with that error because it's, again, if you see the guy in your face, why are you still trying to throw it in that direction?
Yeah.
And I said, I think it's a culmination of the 3. I think you got to respect the Titans. They have a decent pass rush. I'm not going to say they have world beaters. Justin
absolutely.
Simmons, he's great, but everyone else, I mean, but it's expected a little bit. And again, week one, maybe not as bad. I know I saw that. I'll save it for when we're talking about the O-line, but yeah.
You can go ahead. We can go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
It's all blended, man. Go ahead, do your thing.
First of all, I saw Coleman Shelton, and I did not know his name prior to week one. I will let you know. It's bad when I'm finding out your name for the first time for that reason.
Yeah.
But there was a distinct play that I recall where the linebacker, I forget who it was, might have been Ernest Johnson. He just ran straight up the middle and knocked him on his ass. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Just like that? I think I counted less than like 1, 2, bam, he's at Caleb already.
No, yeah.
It was ridiculous. But when I was watching, and this is why it's important too to not let social media kind of construe what you're believing here, because I looked back and he tripped over Tevin Jenkins. So, I mean, unfortunate for him to say the least, because we're looking at him like he just got bitched by a linebacker.
You definitely text me about that.
He tripped. Okay, I'll wear that one. The part where I really had an issue with him, and oh my goodness, we'll tweet it out. I'm sure we could put it on TikTok or something. But my goodness, my man, so the Titans were doing a stunt blitz. For those of you who don't know, it's when one of the edge rushers kind of comes and loops not outward but inward, as if where the nose tackle is supposed to be tackling, and they kind of just come along in. This man saw the guy on the right getting double teamed. He's looking around. Where am I supposed to go? Hey, dummy.
Oh my goodness.
DeAndre Swift can only block for 1 second, then he's supposed to slip.
No, yeah. Seriously.
He tried to triple block this guy. Three guys on one rusher. I'm like, dude, come on. You got to work on that.
You definitely got to work on that. No, definitely. No, definitely. It was some other things that I saw in the first half. It was like some times where it was routes. There was a couple guys having routes in the same area. It was just it was some confusion. Shit definitely got cleaned up in the second half. Like, you can definitely tell clearly they didn't score again. I don't even think, did they even cross the 50 in the second half?
I think they did.
Seriously,
I think it was a couple of small plays.
Yeah, like seriously, like the defense was flying all over the place. Like, one thing I will say, I will give Flus credit. Flus thing was defense. And I know beginning of last season or the last 2 seasons, it was not good. And I know it got better towards the end, but it's like his defense is really like they're getting their guys on defense who they want. They went about it the wrong way, like how they switched Roquan's position and made it seem like he couldn't play. He's a middle linebacker, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like they did that shit the wrong way, but they got their guys in there, and this defense, they're ball hawks. It's gonna be scary to throw. They can run toe to toe with almost any receiving core out here. The linebackers, they're gonna fly all over the place. Now, the one thing we always was worried about, and we talked about it last week, was that damn D-line. But if Javon Dexter can do what he's doing up the middle, and then you got what's his name? Is his name Daryl Walker?
Oh,
no.
Daryl Taylor.
Daryl Taylor. Oh yeah, listen, because if you got Javon Dexter up the middle doing his thing, and then you said Dexter, what's his name?
Daryl Taylor.
I remember his name because he was going nuts. He was going crazy.
Hey, he's number 52.
Yeah, he was going crazy. Yeah. So then when you have those guys being able to do that, especially up the middle, because the quarterback can't step up, Sweat can do his thing. You can't double team him if you got people in the middle. So hopefully Javon Dexter, I want to say he had that sack right after the block punt. I think he had that. So the defense is really showing their thing. Like and honestly, the only reason they gave up 17 is because the one fumble I'm gonna get to, the fumble I'm gonna get to, and the offense just wasn't. They had a bunch. They was 0 for 6 on third down conversions. Your defense is gonna be tired. You keep putting them back on the field, so that's one reason they're even scoring. You know what I'm saying? So it's that's making it worse. So. But then the defense was able to they got the 3-4 halftime, which was big. They got out. They didn't score a touchdown, but the defense was able to rest again. And then whatever they said in the locker room, they came out and just went ballistic on. They was flying all over the place, creating turnovers, even though Will Levis had one of the most egregious interceptions I've ever seen in my life. Like, just take the sack.
That was just a quarterback sin right there, honestly.
Just take the sack.
Yeah. I mean, I know you're not trying to take a sack in that moment, but you'd rather do that and try to get, 3rd and long instead of whatever the hell that was. I mean,
yes.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. Going back here to the offensive line briefly, I saw this tweeted out today. This was from a PFF. This is blocking grades, which I always love to look at after, especially with this line.
Yes.
They have a pass block scale, 0 to 100, 100 being the best. Darnell Wright, number 1 at 81. Okay, I love that. For our first round pick last year, I love that. Nate Davis.
He is a man.
Nate Davis was up there too, but he had half of the pass block attempts. That his availability is your best ability. And if you can't be there, someone else is going to have to step up, or they'll just draft somebody, sign somebody, whatever the case may be. Ryan Bates, same scenario. He was great when he was there, but for some reason, he wasn't in a lot of pass block situations. Braxton Jones also did really solid. Again, these guys are all hovering around the 80 mark. The real concern, Coleman Shelton had a 50. That's alarming. The biggest one, and I don't think this is going to happen beyond week 1, Tevin Jenkins had a 12. He had a 12, and it's the effort. It's truly the effort. We saw him last year do this extremely well, and I watched, again, I saw it on Twitter too. There was a play where he just had his arms out. No, not trying to swat, not trying to, move, be mobile, and he was chasing somebody. So if you're not going to get locked up with your, pass rusher assignment, I don't know how you're going to be successful at blocking.
I imagine if they don't get better, this is going to be a completely different O-line next season. Like,
I think it might be regardless.
Yeah, regardless, because Ryan Poles does not have to worry about looking for hopefully. Let me just start there.
Hopefully.
Ryan Poles, if he's looking for a quarterback, if Ryan Poles is looking for a quarterback in the first round next year, I don't know what happened this season, but this is going to be the first time he's not looking for a quarterback in the first round. Like, he can go out there and look for more. You got to go for O-line. Like, I don't think you have to go O-line. I feel like the trenches is his main thing on both sides of the ball. Like, it has to be. It really does. But the O-line, it could have been worse. It definitely, how many sacks they give up yesterday? I didn't see that. Let me see how many sacks. I didn't see how many sacks they gave up. I think maybe 1, 2.
I thought Caleb got sacked at least twice for sure.
3 sacks.
3.
No, 2. They gave up 2 sacks. They gave up 2 sacks. And the Bears had 3. So
that's
at least
not
we
the
won
worst
that.
considering how rough it looked, but also it's like Caleb had to scramble more than a few times, and
yeah, it was bad. Like let's see, like the overall, I want to get the run. Let me just start here before I get to the running backs. Velus Jones, if he can't, and I know like on Hard Knocks they was just showing like, and I know Poles love Velus Jones, and they sold him on him not cutting him. And then one of the main reasons he's there because he's dynamic and his speed. And I feel like one of the main reasons for kickoff, if you can't kick off the ball and you're going to be used as a gadget player on offense, that means you're only going to touch the ball maybe 5 times a game on offense. You're taking if you can't catch kickoffs, you're taking a spot from somebody who can actually do something.
Yeah.
How can you stay? How can he stay on this roster? Your first one, what isn't the first one?
Yeah.
The first one, and then you drop it and then you kick it. Like, it was just all bad. Like,
yeah, it was worst case scenario for him. And not to mention too, they ran a screen route 5 minutes left in the game, and Odunze goes to block for him, and that's how he now has to get this He has this high MCL
Yes,
sprain, I believe it was.
yes. So
Come
yeah,
on, man.
Odunze he's week by week now because of the MCO. That I'm glad that's all it is. It could have definitely been worse.
Could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse. Some of the stats that was notable to me, well, of course, Caleb was. I like they threw the ball 29 times, so I do like that.
I do like that.
I do like that. He was 14 for 29 for 93 yards. At first, I forgot DeAndre Swift was even on this team. Like I forgot even all preseason because I feel like he only had that one play against the Bills in that first preseason game. I forget he was there, but he was 10 for 30. Caleb, he had 5 carry 15 yards. Caleb had some big plays like on them drives to like on some third downs. And Caleb showed you, of course, he's not gonna be athletic like Justin or like these other quarterbacks, but he can move the ball if he has to with his feet. I like to see that in pressure moments. I don't give a damn if it's the Titans or not. It's still a pro team. Let's see. DJ Moore had 5 catches for 36 yards. It was like really at one point. He had the longest play, and it was a rushing play, and that was like in the fourth quarter. Keenan Allen had 4 catches for 29 yards. Rome Odunze only had 1 catch. Cole Kmet only had 1 catch. So you could definitely tell Caleb was confused, and you expect that from a rookie who has never seen a for real pro defense, who's not going to just be vanilla. Like I said, the 29 attempts lets me know they trust him to throw the ball.
Yeah, that was refreshing to see because, I mean, I know we would constantly be like, every drive we're going 3 and out, and there's 2 rushes and 1 pass that's incomplete.
Yeah, like that shit would get boring, and you would just know what's coming. So, like 29, even though they didn't score a touchdown, he didn't have over 100 yards passing, but 29 attempts lets me know there's opportunities to be there. And he had them. He just overshot them. Anxious, just anything can have first game of the season. And it's gonna be like that. And that last night, Collinsworth has said, and I never thought that he was like, none of these guys are in shape for 4 quarters. Like, so it's gonna be all type of mishaps, and usually the offense takes sometimes a second to catch up. You don't need a rhythm on defense. Like, we're coming. We just know what's going on. On offense, you gotta have a rhythm or everything on offense. So like you gotta catch up a little bit. Sometimes, some offense that's been together for a few years, it don't take that much rhythm, but this is everyone's first year together. Literally, everyone's first year. So first game, we got the win. Could you imagine if we didn't have this defense? It'd have been worse than this. It'd have been a blowout.
My first thought after the win was, I wonder how. I mean, and I'm glad Justin Fields and the Steelers won. But man, if Justin had this type of defense to bail him out, because let's face it, Caleb got bailed. He did. So it's like, man, that's a luxury that not a lot of rookie quarterbacks have.
Especially a rookie. Especially as a rookie.
Yeah, and we definitely saw, Caleb. I love his overzealous, form of confidence. But let's be honest, everyone gets nervous. I don't care who the hell you are. Michael Jordan got nervous. LeBron James gets nervous. Doesn't matter who you are. You get nervous. And it showed on the field. Those overthrows, I think he was nervous. So he didn't want to throw an interception. And then I think part of it too, he is trying to establish what I noticed, the windows that he has to make these passes that he's used to making in college all the time. Well, it's easy to hit DJ Moore when there's second string, DBs coming after him in preseason. But when you've got L'Jarius Sneed, probably a top 5, top 7 corner in the league, draped all over him, it's not so easy anymore. Those windows become much tighter. And that's something I think he's going to identify. I think that Waldron and, the rest of the staff is going to work with him on that. But ultimately, I think it's identifying what windows do I have in the NFL that I or what windows do I not have compared to what I used to have in college? I think that's one of the biggest things.
No, absolutely. How did you feel? So, were you okay with the play calling, especially on like third downs? Were you okay with it? Did you think they were conservative? Did you think they were scared? Go ahead.
I'm glad you mentioned third down because we were in third and short situations a lot in this game, and I was not a fan of it only because. And right, I say I'm not a fan of it because it didn't work. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Of
If
course.
it works, we're all a fan of it. That's just how
Yeah.
fans are.
Yeah.
But it's tough because you're trying to establish the run because Caleb thrives in play action. Well, if you're not able to establish the run because our interior O-line's getting blown up, it's going to be quite hard to do so. And I think Shane Waldron was trying to still establish the run, give Swift those touches. I thought Swift did okay given the context of the game.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I think the verdict is out on the play calling still.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to see how they go up against the next few weeks here.
Yeah, absolutely. Outside of the I feel like of course the offense can't get nowhere but better from here after this week 1. But like you said, everything is always better when you win.
Yeah.
If we're coming here right now at September 9th at this time talking about a Bears loss. And I was listening to I don't know if you listen to like sports radio here or anything like that. Like sometimes I listen to like Cap and Jonathan Hood on ESPN 1000 and them just to hear what fans got to say. And fans was calling like Flus like they was talking crazy about him. Like they was saying like he needs to, I forgot what the fuck they was saying, but it was actually coming at him. But man, he runs the defense basically. Like,
yeah.
And they did not quit. That's the thing I love to see. Like they did not quit. Like we saw times under Flus, them teams would quit at halftime. We saw it.
Yeah,
we definitely saw it. So
I think that comes out of the veteran leadership. I think Eddie Jackson was a huge culprit. And this is a conspiracy theory. I have no basis on what I'm saying here. This is just a hunch. This is just observation. Okay. I saw the way that he would try to finish tackles at the pro level when, it just the effort didn't look like it was always there. Maybe
it wasn't.
And so I think that trickles down to the younger players. And I think maybe a guy like Kevin Byard might have, just the same amount of experience as Eddie Jackson. And, maybe
if not more, I think he might got more. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's changed.
Seriously.
So,
no, seriously. I forgot about that. Eddie Jackson could have been could he have been a cancer in the locker room?
Maybe. I don't know. He was kind of, I don't know. I mean, I loved him with the 2018 defense and that core that they had going on.
Oh, my God. That shit was amazing.
I think once everyone else kind of parted from the Bears, I think he was just like, all right, well, I'm here for the dog days,
Yeah, like he was just there. Like, I think he's with the Ravens now. I think he's with the Ravens. So, once again, Bears win 24-17. So, how do you feel going into we got Sunday night against the Texans in Houston? So how do you feel about that? Like we won, we're excited. We got us a victory Monday. You always want to start the season off with a win. You never really want to lose a game, but this is one you just did not want to lose going into Houston because you don't know what the hell about to happen. You don't want to start 0-2. So how do you feel going into week 2?
Week 2, I gotta say I don't feel great about it, especially with what we saw on the field this last week here. I feel like that O-line is going to get blown up by Will Anderson, and I was blanking on who the other star was on that D-line. I'm blanking on it, but I know that their pass rush is really solid. I know that Stingley is going to be a problem, and ultimately it's CJ. This is a real test for the defense. We're going to see this game, and I'm not expecting us to win it at all. I'd say I'd probably have the Texans at like -7.5.
I think that's the spread too.
Is it the spread?
I think that's the spread.
I was telling the guys in Discord earlier, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if they win by 10, to be honest with you. Like, it is gonna be a tough one. I think this game has a lot of potential though, because we have these expectations going into week 2. Let's say the offense actually does show something and they're hanging around with them for 3 quarters. That changes the entire narrative going into week 3 and beyond. Let's say the defense hangs around and stops that magnificent trio of Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and not to mention Joe Mixon. They've got 4 major issues they have to address in regards to that offense. And
they got Joe Mixon. I don't know if you said Joe Mixon.
Yeah, Joe Mixon was the one. Yeah, I mean, him running the ball, you got 3 studs at wide receiver. It's like that's going to be a tall order.
Tall
But
order.
we're going to see what the ceiling of this defense can look like. Because I'll tell you what, if we hold them to sub 21 points, I'm starting to get real out of pocket. And I'm thinking, man, this might be a top 10, top 5 defense in the league.
Man, let me tell you something. Yes. Yes, I'm with you on that. Like, because don't get me hyped up, because I was getting hyped up yesterday and we wasn't even scoring touchdowns. Our defense was just locking the fuck up. But I'm with you. And real quick, it is Danielle Hunter. Who else is on the D-line? I forgot they got Jimmy Ward in the damn secondary. They got Mario Edwards Jr. Yeah, they are. So it's going to be a test. It's going to be loud in that dome in Houston. It's going to be loud out there. So I'm with you. I don't know. I think for my season, like going through their roster, going through their schedule, I think I did pick them to lose. Of course, I didn't pick like a score, but I can see like a 28-25 or some shit. I can see a score like that. I can see it. Even though I know we didn't score offensive touchdowns, I don't think it's going to happen every week. That's just not possible.
Yeah,
not
I don't think it'll happen every week either.
Yeah. Just because who we have, like we have running backs, we got tight ends, we got receivers, we have it all. Like we have what you need, and we of course we don't have the best O-line, but we damn sure don't have the worst.
Yeah, and I think the O-line, like you said too, they have to kind of figure it out. They have to understand, what didn't work on week 1. Let's make sure we can never do that again, and just move forward from it. Because I believe by the time it was all said and done, I thought that we were middle of the pack as an offensive line last year.
Yeah.
And so, they've only been trying to build on that. I think Braxton Jones has been solid. I think Darnell Wright has been, still growing and potentially even becoming better. And ultimately, I don't know. I think if I'm being optimistic, I would love for them to be within a touchdown. But if I'm kind of, being the pessimistic Bears fan I've been for most of my life, not what I am on Twitter, more of what I really feel. But I think they're, I don't know, I could see like 21-10 or 28-14.
Damn.
I think it's going to be a rough one. I do.
You think so?
This is going to be the game. This is going to be the biggest growing pain for this team this season, in my opinion. This is the game that's going to be like, hey, you are not fucking ready to be a Super Bowl contender. This is what a Super Bowl contender looks like, but it's going to build character. We talked about it last week, right? You got to get your ass kicked in the NFL.
You do.
To build character. And I think this is a game that's going to do that for the Bears.
Man, the only reason I don't want this shit to happen on Sunday because it's prime time.
Yep. Yeah, that's the big one. Yeah.
Like, I don't want, of course, people can see any game, but why can't I would love for it to be a noon game.
Yeah, make it one of those hidden 3:00 games too. Yeah, I don't care.
Get our ass whooped, and people forget about, or people may see it because we got Caleb as our quarterback, but when it's prime time Sunday night, everybody's watching.
Yep.
Everybody's at home. Everybody's getting ready for work the next day. They're watching football. So that's one thing. If we do lose, please don't get our, because we've been getting our ass kicked a lot on prime time.
Yeah.
Lately. So it's like, I don't want us to get, but would I be surprised if we do? No, because like I said, like you said, sometimes it takes that. Like you need to see like that shit was rough. I don't know how much rough you wanted to get after what happened on Sunday, but when we mean by rough, we mean like they just can't do nothing with them type shit. Like you can do no offense, you can do no defense. It's just like a whole team effort. So hopefully it doesn't happen like that because, and I know on the flip side, if we do blow them out, if we blow them out on Sunday, oh my God.
I'm going to get out of pocket. You got to follow me on Twitter because it will be actual cinema. You're going to see me just get into the most wild conversations with people, and it's going to be miserable. Yeah, I will be out of pocket.
No, dead ass. If the Bears go into Houston and some way, somehow, just like a completely different team on offense, and the defense stay the same like they were on Sunday, and they just run through the Texans, block me now on social media. Block me now.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
If the Bears do get stomped this upcoming Sunday, what do you think is going to be the biggest media narrative that is floating around on social media after that?
I think it's going to really depend on. Now, it depends on if Caleb has another bad game, And I mean, like, I'm talking about, like, when I say bad, I'm talking about he's throwing picks and shit. He got, like, maybe 2 picks, a fumble type shit. Boy, and don't let the Steelers win again. Regardless if the Steelers win has anything to do with Justin or anything like that, it's gonna be that the Bears make the right decision. Regardless. I think regardless, if he has a bad game, it's really gonna be on him. But if regardless of how they lose, I feel like Justin's gonna keep getting most of the heat. Regardless. Caleb's gonna get that. I say Justin, I think I said Justin. Caleb's gonna get a lot of the heat for it because of all what's going on with him, his nail painting. It's all this stuff is built up. Like people want him. It's crazy how the narrative changed. Everybody was telling us, you guys have to get rid of Justin. You have to get rid of Justin. You got to get Caleb Williams. Now that we got Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams is showing that he is one of those guys. He has that arm talent. He is one of those guys. Now everybody's trying to act like he ain't shit now. You know what I'm saying? So they're waiting. So they're waiting. I feel like no matter what, he gonna get most of the blame at all times, unless it's just that unless the defense was just that bad. But I think it's gonna be Caleb on him all the time, all year.
Yeah, I mean, even this morning I saw a post online that was talking about Caleb's first game stats, and they're like, Caleb in the summer, and it shows Carl Weathers from the Rocky movies just ready to go. And then it shows Caleb week 1 and he's knocked out on the ground. It's like, come on, man. What are we doing here? Like,
like
are we expecting him to be right away? He's Patrick Mahomes. He's going to come out, throw for 350, 4 touchdowns. Like, you're just unrealistic. And
you are. And I forgot to write this down because I was driving when I heard this, but they said like the last 20-some years, first overall picks or first round quarterbacks, they're like 5-20 and a tie in their first game.
Yeah.
Like,
the last one to get a win was David Carr, I think, in like the early 2000s, mid 2000s.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
Like, come on. Like, it doesn't happen that way. Usually when you're the first overall pick, you're going to a bad team.
Absolutely.
He just looked up that the Bears Ryan Poles was able to fleece the Panthers, and that we end up having another first round pick. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because we got lucky. We got lucky with another pick. So it's just like he just looked up to had this foundation of defense already. He could be looking like Bryce Young look right now.
Oh, yeah, I think he would, to be honest. I mean, let's face it, Bryce Young's not being set up for success. I know he had some rough throws this last week, but yeah, I mean, that team doesn't really look like they're going to be competing for anything anytime soon.
Exactly.
And that's why I thought the whole discourse of, does Caleb actually want to be a Bear? Why wouldn't he? He could be a hero for a city. He goes to a good team. The Bears were a good team outside of quarterback, and that was last year before they made all these additions. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, it's still a good scenario. I think I'm not too worried about the offense this year.
It's a good city.
Yeah,
it's slow. And after the Bears, who was it? It was who had the second pick? Was it the Commanders?
Yes,
Patriots.
The Commanders. They took Jaden Daniels with it.
So it's like, would you think Caleb was going to pick the Commanders or the Patriots situation over the Bears? Hell no.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way he would have. And I get that he's from DC. There's no way he was going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to be a Bear regardless. So I know if you're hating on Caleb after this game, you're already praying for his downfall. And then I asked you, are you actually a Bears fan? Like, people who are like, not get it. You a Justin fan? Matter of fact, I got a Justin hoodie on right now.
I got Justin Fields right here on my wall. I mean,
like, I'm a Bears fan. Yeah. Like, one thing about football is different than the NBA. NFL is different is where in the NBA, yeah, I'm a Bulls fan, but I follow players more than anything. In the NFL, like, I'm a Bears fan. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, once you Yeah, it sucks. I want you to be our quarterback, but you're not our quarterback no more. So guess what? I done moved on. I'm not looking at what you're doing over here. Yeah, I'm looking at it, but I'm not gonna compare this shit over here. I done moved on at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. So it's like people who was like preying on Caleb's downfall. Are you really a Bears fan? Are you not excited? I've had people tell me I'm just not excited yet because it's not Justin. What the fuck? You're not a Bears fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not a fan of this team.
Yeah.
Just say that.
You're definitely just chasing hype. You just want to feel like you're a part of something.
Yeah, that's it. Like, what the fuck are
yeah.
you talking about? You're not excited yet because it's not Justin.
Yeah.
He didn't have all the help in the world, but he still had times to show that he's capable of running a pro offense every week. Because look, what he did yesterday for the Steelers, I've seen with the Bears.
Yeah. Defense kind of, and that's my thing, right? It's like the whole Justin versus Caleb debate. I mean, at the very worst, let's say Caleb is, just not going to be what we thought he was, and we don't have to pay him. That's also the biggest thing. I was telling people months ago, the biggest decision that Ryan Poles is going to have to face is, what's going to keep me my job, and what's our best chance for winning? Well, paying a quarterback, we mentioned it last week, you're kind of putting your team in a tight spot once you have to finally start paying the quarterback. You don't have to do that with Caleb, and you get to build around him, and he's supposed to be this generational prospect, and he can keep me my job. Let's face it, man. If he went with Justin Fields and the Bears sucked this year, which was probably going to be the likely outcome, Ryan Poles is out of here. So he almost had to go the Caleb route. He had to go the Caleb route.
Yes. You had to be smart about, like, you got Caleb for 5 years that you're not paying him big money yet. You get 4 years, and then you get the fifth year option. Of course, they're going to accept that option. They're going to do that. And then you got 4 years for sure to build a Super Bowl team, at least a contender. You got 4 years to get it done because you don't have to pay him yet. You bring back Justin. Now we got to do. Now we turn this shit to a Justin Caleb thing. But you bring back Justin. You got to think about job security. That man thinking about his job, his livelihood. Like, you bring back Justin, you're pretty much saying, I'm riding with him. That's what you're telling the owners of the Bears. I'm riding with Justin, and what's his name, Kevin Warren. This is what I'm riding with. They're gonna send your ass up out of here after this season if you have a bad season. Come on, man. It's not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out that way. So, but to answer y'all the question, man, I think you asked me who I feel is gonna be on. I feel like it's gonna be on Caleb, but just stop being a hater, man. Just enjoy this shit. It's gonna be a roller coaster, man. It's gonna be frustrating for sure. It's gonna be aggravating because people think that your Peytons and your Peyton Mannings and your let's see, Pat Mahomes and Brady's and Andrew Lucks and all these, the greatest quarterbacks of all time, they didn't start off just throwing all over the place, man. They learned, but they learn faster. They catch on faster, but that's what's going to happen. You're going to see improvement. You can just tell that he understands.
And even if we don't see Caleb delivering the results this year, I will always refer back to Peyton Manning and how it took him his full year past his rookie year, like, to get good. And, we can't really just sit here and want that. That's right. As fans, we want that instant gratification
all the time, especially now.
Yeah. With the way this team is shaping up. But let's face it, this team is here to stay. And it's not just this year. Keenan Allen seems like he's open to doing a minor extension down the line. That's the thing about what this draft has done for the Bears. They are desirable again. Players are going to want to play here. I mean, I know fans were getting pretty ridiculous with the whole Micah Parsons stuff. And even after the Dak Prescott, signing, they're like, okay, now the Cowboys can't afford Micah. He's going to be a Bear now. And it's like,
man, Ryan Poles will have to, like, you know how much you had to tear this whole team apart to do that.
Well, or the future. And I think that would be more likely. I think it would be larger than the Khalil Mack trade. That already set us back. When you really look back at it, they wanted to go all in. They trusted Mitch Trubisky. You put your trust in the wrong guy, but what are you going to do? You had a GM that wanted to go all in. I don't necessarily hate it. I don't want the Bears to go get Micah. The price is
No,
going to
me
be
either.
too rich for my blood.
Too damn rich.
They're going to be able to figure it out through the draft. I trust Ryan Poles, and Ryan Poles we trust.
And Ryan Poles we trust is right.
Yes.
Damn it, you are
We're
right.
We're going to have 3 top 100 picks or top 60 something picks still.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, and the Panthers look like they're going to be generationally bad.
Yeah, so we might be talking about having picks 133 or not one, Jesus, but somewhere in the first round, pick 33 potentially, and then somewhere in the second. I think we can address, 2 O linemen, maybe a D lineman.
For sure.
Like you said, just establish those trenches, build them.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. That's basically for sure. Man, anything else before we move on to straight some NFL news before we get up out of here, man? We both got, I don't know. So you have them losing, right? You have the Bears losing.
I do have the Bears losing. Yeah.
Get them losing. And you said what? What you say? You gonna give me
my final prediction? I'm gonna go 31-17. I think it's gonna be a rough one, and I think 31-17 is my final prediction.
All right, you got me right now. Listen, I'm going 27-24 Bears. We're going down to Houston. We're going to eat us some barbecue. We're going to come back to Chicago with a win. Let's go.
Caleb says, fine, I'll do it myself.
Yes.
Can you imagine? Oh, my gosh.
We're going down there. We're going to shock the NFL, man.
Could you imagine if they did that on prime time?
Man, I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping.
Any given Sunday. Any given
Sunday. But yeah, you got the Texans winning. I got the Bears winning. I think we both wouldn't be shocked if it reversed. So we wouldn't if either team win. But yeah, man. Anything that shocked you in week 1? Anything that caught your eye across the NFL?
2 things. One of them being Jerry Jones deciding 1 hour before the first game on Sunday to finally pay Dak Prescott. It's so on brand for this.
Very.
I'm not going to use that word, but it's very on brand for Jerry Jones.
Yes, it is.
I don't know. He's just a weird guy, but Dak got his money, so at least he's not doing the Jamar Chase holdout debacle.
Yeah, and he's still holding out, right? Jamar Chase.
He played Sunday.
He did, okay.
And it was not good.
I didn't see none. I didn't watch none of the. I didn't watch none of the highlights from New England Cincy. I just know New England won. I could not believe it.
You would have thought based on that Jamar didn't play.
Yeah, I didn't look at no box score. I didn't look at no box score or nothing from that game. I was going to actually go back and look at it, but I'm really going to go back and look at it now since I know Jamar Chase is actually playing. So
yeah, and I mean I think he had 1 practice.
Yeah,
so,
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Yeah.
He was going to practice and just standing on the sideline. Just stay at home.
Now, the even bigger thing that stood out to me was Tyreek Hill getting detained a block away from the Miami Dolphins venue.
Yeah.
That was a very, very peculiar situation that I just can't seem to wrap my head around. I think I'm going to let you I want to hear your thoughts on this situation.
For those that don't know, Tyreek Hill, who played on Sunday, this happened on the way to the stadium. So this is probably shit. This is probably like 8 in the morning. Like this shit is probably happening, So he's probably late getting to the stadium, or probably not. He probably got a fast car and just saying,
he said he was late in the video you sent me. He's like, hey, can you just give me a ticket and let's move this. I'm gonna be running late.
I did hear the ticket part. I didn't hear the last part. So he was driving a fast car, but he was running late. So he had a window up. Of course, it's hot as fucking Miami, so he's gonna have the AC on probably. So the police officer, before he could let his window down, the police officer knocked on his window. And Tyreek goes, hey, man, don't knock on my window like that. Why you knocking on my window? And the guy goes, why you have your seatbelt on? They started going back and forth, and Tyreek gave him his license, and then he lets his window up, which I would have done too. I've done that before. I let the window up all the time if they're going back to the car. So he let the window back up, and the cop knocks on the window again, and they get into it. And it just goes haywire from there. And they start pulling him out the car. I guess I forgot what else he asked. He started pulling him out the car. They started detaining him on the ground. They was putting him in cuffs. Now, meanwhile, this car is coming by, and you can see the cops cam. You can see like this phantom truck. So I know this is a player. I know this is a player behind him. So you have like Calais Campbell who gets out. They trying to see what. Of course, they recognize him. That's their teammate. So they trying to see what the fuck going on. His teammate is handcuffed. They got a fucking game in 3-4 hours. So they really want to know what the fuck is going on. So they're talking to Calais Campbell reckless. Calais Campbell's is like this. They go down to the other players who's down there on the phone. They going buck crazy and they're trying to like arrest them because they asked them for their license. It's just a whole scenario of just wildness. Like, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Tariq could have just not asked about or could let the window down and all that shit. But my thing is, yeah, he could have, but it was a lot of force involved. And my only thing I got to say about it is that, like, I got a child. I'm teaching how to drive right now. So it's like, he's not Tariq Hill. He's not Tyreek Hill. He not going. Yeah, he cannot get out of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a child. He gonna be driving a car in a few years. So it's like, I think about a situation like that where with Tyreek Hill just went through yesterday. That who knows if he wasn't the Miami Dolphins star receiver, he even got out of that situation. Who knows if you and my phone real quick and a lot of people are sick. People that are saying like, well, did people forget that he had domestic violence cases? Listen, not saying any of that is okay to do, but what the police did to him was not okay just because he got into it with his woman. That's you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't. So you're the police. You can easily, you are the police. You can easily do things the right way if you want to. You don't have to, and you can just tell by the one cop he's on a power trip about something.
Yeah, power trip was the first word that came to mind.
He was on a power trip about something. He was basically in his mind, these motherfucking Dolphin players, I'm sick of their ass. They think that's probably what he's thinking. They think they can just do it.
Let's face it, Jay. He's probably facing Tyreek in fantasy week 1 and wanted to. You know, let's be real, man. Hey, you know what? If I get him detained for a few hours, he misses the game.
Funny. Yo, that is funny as hell. I didn't think about that shit, yo. I did not think about that. That's a lighthearted way to put this shit for real. I wouldn't be surprised though with some shit like that because some fans are nuts like that when it comes to fantasy. But in all seriousness, like I already know how you feel. Like I know how you feel. I know you're gonna express it, but it's just unfortunate because body cams wasn't always a thing.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, if you watch the video, I think TMZ Sports tweeted it out, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
That cop, he definitely had a power trip. I remember he was telling people back away or give me your license, and it's like, I don't give you my license. I'm not, you know. And the biggest thing to take away from it, I know it says that the Miami-Dade officer here was put on administrative duty leave. I think that's a bit too light. I think other people think it's too light. Even Jalen Ramsey is calling for him to be fired, which let's be real. I mean, if you see the video, I mean, you know, he's got a knee directly into Tyreek Hill's back. Yeah. If that prevented him from playing, you know, there's so many different outcomes that could have come from that. And we're lucky that it wasn't much worse than what it was. But I mean, you look at, I think the biggest modern reference point is George Floyd 2020, the knee on the neck, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you're still having these officers put it. Tyreek, although he may have, the way he handled it in terms of like kind of, he's a football player, right? He's naturally a more like, what are you stopping me for? Let's keep it moving. You know, just straight to the point.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, the officer probably doesn't really engage with people that have that type of personality.
Nope.
So I think, was Tyreek being exactly cooperative? That's in the air. But was the officer kind of de-escalated the situation? No, absolutely not. The officer was escalating the situation.
Yes, he was.
And Tyreek didn't even do anything. He's like, I just came off knee surgery a few months ago. He says it in the video.
Yeah, he did.
And they just knock him to the ground.
Yeah. No, seriously. No,
So I'm with Jalen Ramsey. I don't think those gentlemen deserve to be in their line of duty. I think you know, and it's I know there's a whole debate that can go back and forth, and that's not what the show's about. But ultimately, you know, like you said, and like Tyreek said, what if he wasn't Miami, Miami's wide receiver star, Tyreek
Yeah.
Hill? What if he was
Yeah.
just,
Anybody getting pulled over.
anybody? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just that's the unfortunate thing of that whole situation. And the fact that, because it's crazy that I thought all this time, I thought it happened after the game. But then I saw him talking about it after the game. I said,
did you see his touchdown celebration? First of all, we saw it in Discord and we're like, man, we got to put a parlay together. 100 yards easy, touchdown easy. He got 130 yards and a touchdown. Yes. And then his celly was crazy, bro.
Yeah, it was. His celebration was insane. And if any of you want to watch this video, I'll put all the stuff in the description on all the stuff we're going to upload the episode on if you actually want to watch it. Because I like watching them. I don't like, of course I'm gonna read headlines, but I don't like just reading headlines. I gotta read the article and watch the video, because sometimes key things be left out. Not sometimes, all the time. You know what I'm saying? So, and the video was just like I thought it was gonna be, because I knew a video was gonna come out once I heard about it. So I had to watch the whole thing, and it went just like I thought. Like, how you gonna ask somebody, how you gonna try to arrest somebody because they're not giving you a license? They're not even in this situation. They're trying to figure out what's going on with their friend. They're going to work. I think anybody who's going to work saw a coworker or a friend hemmed up on the side of the road is not going to keep going by. You know what I'm saying? So it's just bad. It was bad. So I think that just took over some of the other shit that went on in the NFL. But the NFL is back. There's always some drama going on. There's always some shit.
My gosh, an action-packed week one on and off the field. My goodness.
Yes. Real quick, Brady had his first game. Not to, my bad. I didn't mean to just take away from Tyreek's situation, but I don't think there's really nothing else to even say about that. It's like it is what it is. Like, the cops did that shit. It wasn't like, there's no much more I really can say on that situation, where I'm not shocked, I'm not surprised, and I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad he was able to ball out like he did, and that cop just don't need to just be on the league. He needs to be fired.
Yeah, absolutely.
He definitely needs to be fired. But the Cowboys and the Browns game, Brady had his first game he commentated on. Real quick, how do you feel about how he did, or did you even watch that game?
I caught the second half of it, and I caught the pregame of it. And I gotta say, I think it's the first time we've seen Brady not be absolutely spectacular.
Yes.
We've seen a guy who's been so talented at football for so many years, and we think of him as perfection, right? He's got all the plastic surgery, he's got the money, he's had, just a very luxurious life. And we look at him here and it's like, oh, he is human, right? And so ultimately, I thought he was solid. I think.
Yeah, me too.
There's a lot he could work on to kind of get better at his craft. I think when Tony Romo kind of came onto the scene, it was like, wow, he's actually surprisingly really good. But much like Caleb, where he's got to develop, I think Brady's going to just have to develop.
Oh yeah,
I think he'll be good by the end of the year.
Yeah, he's gonna be fine, because we know he knows the game.
Yeah,
like, he knows the game, so he's gonna be just fine. But the reason I even brought that game up is because not even because of the Cowboys. Deshaun Watson.
Oh yeah.
Another story came out about him. If you actually want to read it, I would drop this shit. I would drop it in the description as well. I'm not gonna read this on here. It's I will say it's kind of graphic with what they had to describe and things, but the Browns need to find a way to get out of this contract. He doesn't look good no more at all. Like, he can't read a defense. He had his arm strength is dust. He does not have speed anymore. They might just cut their losses, get this nasty ass dude up out of here, and just start Jameis Winston at this point. No, seriously, because it's just it's bad. Like, and I get it. It's terrible timing. I feel like somebody was waiting till week one that happened to drop this article today. But it's bad. Like, it keeps happening, and he's not fully guaranteed. Like, I did find out like the Browns can get out of it if it's some more shit. So they need to get. I think he's owed like $70 million plus, like the next couple.
Yeah, I know the full contract was what $235 million guaranteed, and that was. But see, you know what though? That's just a Cleveland Browns move, because
it is.
I don't even feel bad for them. That's the thing. I don't feel bad for them. You doubled down on this decision, knowing what he got into. You traded so many assets. You gave him so much guaranteed money when you were the team that had leverage. You had leverage. What are you doing? It makes no sense to me. My only question, so for those of you that don't know, Deshaun Watson, he's sued for sexual assault and battery that took place in the year of 2020. Was this a part of that initial rollout? Because I know there's a lot of cases. And that's the thing. If this is a separate incident.
Yes, bro. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like the details in this is nasty. Like I'll put it in the description. Like I said, I'm not gonna read it. You can read it. I warned you here, basically. Yeah. So, but it's not. He's a nasty dude. Like on top of that, and his play is not even good.
Yeah, I saw his play. The McAfee show, they said he might be a better person than a quarterback, and that's not saying
it's not right.
But he's bad. He's a bad guy, and yeah, it's just you've got the football on top of it too. It's like, man, you're bad.
Tough. Like you gave him all this money. He didn't have to prove himself, and you traded away all that collateral, all the assets, first round picks. So you just set up the Texans just for life.
Yeah.
What? For Deshaun Watson? Come on.
Yeah,
man.
Right. Like if you're doing that and you're getting a premier player, and I know he was still talented at the time. Talented at the time. It's just with all of the baggage that comes with it, right? It's not like this was some person that's had a quiet career and who's been really good. This is a high-profile case, and now you're getting yourself in the mix. It's on brand for the Cleveland Browns. They just,
You had a chance. You can have anybody at quarterback. I won't say anybody, but I feel like Jameis gave them some better chance. Didn't Flacco lead him to the playoffs last year?
Flacco was wonderful when he came in late in the year.
That's what I thought. Like, come on now. So it's like, man, it's just that really caught my eye. Like with that article and everything, he has to go. Start Jameis Winston. One more thing. Another thing that caught my eye is your New York Giants.
Yeah. No, I'm ready to wear that one. However, I will give them a mulligan. I think they deserve it. Okay. One of the biggest things that I noticed was Kayvon Thibodeau. He got benched for discipline in the first quarter early on.
Oh, shit.
He had a face mask on 3rd and 15.
Oh.
Dable said, the fuck, we are not starting that. And so he got benched, I believe. I don't know if it was the rest of the game, but it was majority of the game where he was. So that's obviously not excusable. Daniel Jones, he's having the Sam Darnold ghost effect. It was just all around bad for that Giants team. I know once they say when a head coach is initially calling plays and then, delegates that to a coordinator and then you hear the reports of them bringing it back on. That's usually the beginning of the end. Dable, I think, going into the year, I'm like, man, I wasn't too concerned about whether Dable's keeping his job or not. But if you're the Giants, what's to lead you as, ownership and, whoever's running it over there? I mean, who's to say you're not moving on from Schoen? You're not moving on from Dable. You're not moving on from Daniel Jones. I mean, why not? And with all the money that they gave Daniel Jones to, a couple years ago, a lot of that was guaranteed. They need him to not be hurt because I believe there's a way that they still end up owing him money. I just know that it's a very difficult situation if Daniel Jones has another season-ending injury. So they're almost better off just if he's playing bad, throw Drew Lock in there. Truly, I mean, I still think the team has a lot of potential. Whether Daniel's part of it or not, that's to be determined. I know a lot of that verdict is made by a few already, but yeah, it does not look too good for him. I think Malik Neighbors still looked good though. I mean, he fled 50 yards on 2 catches. So
they got some players over there. It's just I think it was a bad few couple days for the Giant fans. You got you have Barkley going crazy on Friday, ballistic on Friday, and then you go here on Sunday and he's looking awful like you did on Sunday. But yeah, man, there's I had to bring that. I saw that. So I had to bring that shit up to you.
I
I
no,
think
I
the
understand.
Giants, but the Giants definitely got some players. I think it's just like any other team. It's the quarterback position. Like they got players.
And I'm
They
curious
got
to see what
guys.
they look like week to week, right? Because again, week one, we see it all the time where there's some anomalies that happen. I mean, last year, they what did they get blown out by the Cowboys? 40-0, something like that. I thought it
Did
was in
they?
prime time. They got blown out in game one last
They
year.
did. They did, didn't they? They
Uh,
did.
I
Who
believe it was
was
against
that?
the Cowboys. And so, it's week one. That's what I tell a lot of people too. I'm getting a lot of messages in fantasy. Oh, this guy's playing like shit, and it's like it's week one. Let's
Yeah,
let's revisit in week five. How's the start of the
absolutely.
season looking then?
Absolutely. Real quick before we get up out of here, division rival, they lost Friday to the Eagles. It's always a good time when they lose, but they lost Jordan Love. Not as bad as we thought it was going to be, but I'm looking at their schedule, and we got to take advantage of this because we have no division games until the end of the year. So,
Yeah,
so and I want to beat the Packers when they have Jordan Love anyway. If we do beat them, I want him as the quarterback. So we're not going to see them until the end of the season, but I'm looking at the Packers schedule. They got the Colts next week. They got Tennessee. They got Vikings, then the Rams, then the Cardinals. So I don't even know. They say he's supposed to miss like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So you got
yeah.
Colts, Titans, Vikings, and say like he missed the Rams game back against the Cardinals. But I feel like, do you think with him missing the 4 weeks, is there a good chance for us to make it to get the second spot in the NFC North?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I look at their next few games here, and I see the Colts. Colts played the Texans very well. I think
Very
they
well.
overachieved a little bit, but ultimately, I think again, I say that, but we don't know what Anthony Richardson's ceiling is. That throw he made from it was like a 60-yard bomb was. He's an alien. He's phenomenal.
No, he's really good.
So I'm curious to see how the Packers defense handles him. And whether it's going to be, whether they sign Ryan Tannehill. I know rumors of that were swirling around. Or they go with Malik Willis. I think they still have a really good team to still win games. So I could see them maybe taking that one from the Colts.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see how they play against the Titans because the Titans, they're still going to be underrated in my opinion. I know Will Levis played a very sloppy game. Will Levis gave us that game, and I know that Brian Callahan is not going to let him do that again this year. And if he does, then you're out of here, Will. But
no, absolutely.
the Titans played really impressive defense, and ultimately, I think their offensive line is kind of what we thought they were. And I'm curious to see how that one plays out too. I think these next 2 games are going to be trap games for them for sure.
Yes,
And
for sure.
I think the Vikings, I'm a little more optimistic for them to lose against the Vikings as well.
Yeah, so we'll see. It's definitely going to see. We have to take advantage of these. If he only missed 4 games, we
need dubs.
We have to take advantage of our games for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Man, but man, we had an hour. Like I said, we're gonna keep it short for us, man. We keep it short for us. But anything else before we get up out of here? Anything else?
The Bears. That's all
The Bears.
That's all I gotta say.
The Bears. Till next week, man. We up out of here, man. Peace.
All right. See ya.